You're listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast with your hosts, Emily
and Jason. Emily, I love having afternoon coffee with you.
I know. I think I'm getting more comfortable with our podcast guest. That's not the right word?
Listeners. They're our guests. You're a guest here in our podcast room if you're listening.
Normally, I would not drink my afternoon coffee while we're doing
the last episode, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We love our afternoon coffee. It has MCT oil, so the benefits outweigh the negatives.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the science behind that, but apparently it's great for the brain.
Brain boosting.
I read this thing or watched this thing, I'm not sure what, but they say, when you're a kid, you have milk. When you're a little bit older, you have coffee with milk and sugar. And then when you become in your 20s or 30s, you're a milk and coffee. And then when you're an old person, you're a black coffee drinker. We are not old yet.
We have gone through the black coffee phase, but since we're doing keto, the heavy cream.
Yeah, some of you may have thought, wait, milk? I thought you were on keto.
I don't think anybody was thinking that.
There was one. And if you were that person, leave a review. So keto has taught me that heavy cream in coffee is quite
delectable,
delicious. And I went up to this coffee truck that was at our kids' soccer game, and I'm like, what is the latte? If I want a latte, but with heavy cream. And they looked at me and they said, well, actually, that's called a breve. I had no idea.
Yeah, never heard of it.
And breves are a little much.
It's a little rich.
It's like
I can have one sip.
Yeah, it makes you thirsty. It's weird. It's a lot of heavy cream.
Yeah. It's a lot of heavy cream. So
you got to counteract it with I will take quadruple shots of espresso, please.
Yeah.
To counteract and then you're just wired. Anyway, we're not talking coffee today. I could talk to you about anything, Emily.
Oh, that's sweet. Next week is our anniversary. Is it next week? Yeah, it is.
It is next week. It is our 15-year anniversary.
How do you make 15 years?
We got married at 12. That's why we look so young.
I don't think anybody's thinking that.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I thought I was 20. I thought I was 25. Oh, gosh. No. Yeah, 15 years. We've done a lot. And we have moved an average of one time per year, even though we haven't moved in the last 5 years. That was a lot of moving in the first 10 years.
Lots of moving. I was just telling you that our friend is moving and they hired a moving company.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to say her name, but hopefully it's okay if I share how much this costs.
We had no idea because we've never been in such a situation.
Yeah. She said they're paying $15,000 for a moving company.
To move across country.
Not really across country.
It's like over 12 hours, isn't it?
It is not. It's like 6 hours.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Well, that seems a lot more expensive to me than
$15,000. They do have a larger house. Not massive.
It's a nice house. It's a very nice house.
I shared it in the reel about Crunchy Mom looking for a house.
Yeah, that was the house we were in, yeah.
So if you watch that reel, then you will see that they have a piano. So that probably
Oh, well, it's probably $7,000 to move a baby grand, isn't it? I mean, that's where the cost is.
I don't know. I don't know where.
This piano's staying with the house.
Yeah.
I think.
That house is so grand.
Beautiful.
That you don't even notice that there's a baby grand piano in the living room. That's how you know.
That's how you know.
That you have a grand house.
That's how you know. If your grand piano doesn't make a dent in your space.
Honestly, when we were filming, I've been in that house probably, 8-10 times.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first time I ever noticed a piano.
Really?
Yeah, which is weird because usually I notice everything. Like I noticed a ton of tiny little details.
Missed the piano.
That was weird.
Yeah.
We have actually been looking at houses lately.
Yeah.
A little bit. Not, casually. Look at us. There are some challenges with this house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Namely the 7-foot ceilings.
It's a bit
upstairs.
of a fixer-upper. What's that from? I made that up.
No, that's from Frozen 2.
I know, I'm just
or
kidding.
is
No,
it
it's the
Frozen
first one.
1? Yeah.
It's one of their lesser-known hits. Yeah, no, there's things.
It was a fixer-upper. I feel like we've fixed up some.
A lot.
There's one room in our upstairs hallway. It just like in the hallway looks like a room, but when you open it, they didn't finish it. They just didn't. Yeah, they just, nope, we're not finishing it. And then she lived with it for 40 years like that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Crazy.
Well, we've lived in it for 5 years like that, so I can see how it can
Time
creep up on you. So we've lived in a variety of places. And the idea of today's episode is to kind of explore, we have an audience that's in some of the biggest cities in the world. We have an audience where you have to drive 4 hours to see another human. And,
do we?
Well, that's exaggerating, but, I kind of feel like I right now in that demographic a little bit. But we have also lived in one of the largest cities in the world, and we have lived in some of the most rural places in the world where you actually didn't see anyone for a week unless you just went into town on your own.
Where was that?
Wisconsin. There were some neighbors, but you didn't really even see them move around. There's nobody there. And the whole, you could see houses if you really looked hard through the woods, but you didn't see anybody.
True.
There's never any, you'd see the trash man once a week. Sometimes
but we lived
the
on
mailman.
a dead end.
Yeah, I understand that. But that part of the town or that part of the country,
Cascade.
Yeah, was not near anything.
Right.
So, what's better? What is better? The sprawling, endless possibilities of the giant city where you can literally have anything you want, but not actually, or the quiet life in the country where you breathe what the trees are expelling.
I can't tell you because I'm never satisfied anywhere.
Same.
Isn't that so frustrating? When we lived on a really busy street in town, and I'm talking about in town in Paducah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I should also throw in there the idea of living in a small town, not just rural country. So
yeah,
that's kind of
so now we live out in the country.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I lived in town, I had a friend who lived kind of out this way. And anytime I went over to her house for a play date, I'm like driving this way. I'm like, who in their right mind would move out here? Like, why would you do that? It's so annoying to drive this far out. But then, we just heard ambulances multiple times a day, police cars, traffic going all the time, the SWAT team hopping out in front of our house to go to our neighbor's home.
Yeah.
Just
good neighbors.
Too busy, crazy.
Not quite the Wilson from Home Improvement,
I feel like we have him now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a clown.
A professional
clown.
In case we haven't mentioned that.
It is amazing when he's done with a gig and he comes home and checks his mail and is full-on clown outfit. I love it. It's awesome.
I love seeing him walk out his front door totally decked out.
It's amazing.
I love it so much.
So this idea kind of came from the reel that we posted last week. I'll link to the reel in the description. But about how there's not much to do around here in good old Paducah, Kentucky. We exaggerated a little bit. There's not a ton to do, but there's probably more than we let on. However, I'm most interested in the comments that we got about all the things that there are to do in Paducah. I've got some, you've got some. I think it'd be fun to run through a couple of the things that people suggested that we should do while living in Paducah. If we had a visitor, what would we do? Or what should we do?
If we ever had a visitor, it's so funny. We so rarely get visitors.
It's rare.
If you'd like to visit us.
Right. Leave a comment. And we'll ignore it.
Are bourbon distilleries off the list?
They are for Paducah. Apparently,
it's 4 hours.
Yeah. We used to live in bourbon country.
It was beautiful.
They're very pretty places. It's on the other side of the state.
Really just halfway.
Okay. Yeah, well. We don't count.
Kentucky's a long
It's
state. I don't think people realize.
It's very long.
Yeah.
Well, you're at Paducah. Why don't you go to Maker's Mark? It's 4.5 hours away. That's why.
We have been.
Yeah. This one got me.
Okay.
There's a historic marker-style sign for Patty's 1880 settlement out there. Are they talking about a historic sign?
No, it's saying there's a sign marking that there is an 1880s settlement, Patty's 1880 settlement, which is actually just a restaurant.
In Paducah?
No.
There's a sign?
No.
So the sign that they're telling us to go check out, not the place, but the sign?
No, they're saying go to the place. They've seen the sign.
Oh.
Go to the place.
Yeah, not near Paducah.
It's 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I guess it is technically
Yeah, but I'm still trying
Paducah.
to think, like, Paducah is the biggest town in western Kentucky. Well, sort of. And everything people are saying to do is not here.
It is funny because Patty's is just a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, yeah.
Is there anything 1800s
putt-putt.
there?
Oh, I have no idea. No, they're just the workers.
They dress up like that,
Yeah.
sort of.
And they're all really old.
Okay.
I'm just
Mammoth Cave, Corvette Museum, Kentucky Down Under for the littles.
All of that's in Bowling Green.
It's 3 hours away.
3 hours from us. But hey, there's Bob's Drive-In.
Bob's is in Paducah.
It is in Paducah.
If you really want some garbage food. Plus, what is there? Chuck Wagon Burger? Something
I don't know.
that's
Never
what they're
had
famous
it.
For. Actually, no, Bob.
Oh,
I
yeah?
knew Bob. He passed away, but yeah, Bob was the. Do you remember the episode about my
Bob's
mom's
Burgers.
best friend who was murdered?
Yeah.
It's her dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He had the Holman house?
Yep.
Oh,
Bob Holman.
he
Got around.
got around. All right. But to extend to that person's comment, or you can drive her around and tell her where things used to be. That's an activity if I've ever heard of one. Hopefully they're joking.
Yeah, we used to apparently have like a bunch of fun kiddie rides at the park. I don't remember that.
Not
But it
my
was
vibe, really.
like
but
really?
Yeah.
Like tiny little roller coasters? That sounds
is that
amazing.
something I would want to do? No.
No, but for the kids.
Okay.
And anytime I see anything brought up about Paducah and how there's nothing to do, there's always a ton of comments. Bring back the kiddie rides.
Really? I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes.
Wow. Emily, I want to take a moment and talk about one of our sponsors of the show. Today, we're talking about Reencle. No, not the wrinkle in your sheets or shirts. This is Reencle, Reencle. It's a composter. A really cool one at that. Take it away, Emily.
Yeah, so Reencle is one of the coolest things I've seen in a while. If you're like me, you've felt guilty scraping food scraps into the trash. I mean, most of the time, if we have any scraps, we were just throwing them into the woods. But Reencle makes composting easy. All you do is toss in veggies, dairy, yes, and even meat, and Reencle does the rest. Reencle uses advanced microbes to break down up to 90% of your food waste into nutrient-rich compost in just 24 hours. And thanks to a triple-layer deodorizing filter, there's no odor. Plus, it runs at just 28 decibels, so it's quieter than a whisper. It's sleek, compact, and fits right on your counter, perfect for apartments or busy families. And with over 150,000 happy customers around the world, you're in good company. So, if you're looking for an eco-friendly, hassle-free way to reduce food waste and feed your plants while you're at it, check out Reencle. Go to Reencle.co and use discount code CRUNCHY for an exclusive 10% off in addition to any current promotion. That's Reencle, Reencle.co.
Beautifully done, Emily.
Thank you.
Yeah. It is kind of fun. Our kids are having fun, like putting their foot in front of the little thing so the composter lid pops up and down. They love it.
And I feel like the excitement that chicken owners feel when they take their scraps out to chickens, except I'm just taking it to my Reencle.
Yeah.
And thank you
great.
for not saying wrinkle as in the one between your eyebrows.
Okay.
At the very beginning, you said something about sheet. I was like waiting for it.
Everybody's sheets are wrinkled. My shirt's wrinkled. but not that kind of wrinkle. All right.
Okay, this one is my favorite.
Okay.
Drive to Mayfield and view the tornado damage and recovery progress.
That's something.
That's rude, honestly. I mean, everybody did it. Everybody did it in Paducah when there was a massive mile-wide tornado that went through. Just leveled it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because my friend lives outside of Mayfield, and she has goats, and she was really like, she got the news that a tornado was happening, and she messaged me, and she was like, say a prayer for our goats. There's a mile-wide tornado coming.
For the goats?
They were leaving their house.
Okay,
they were evacuating.
I gotcha.
So say a prayer. She can't do anything with the goats. I was like, you can bring the goats. Put them in my garage.
But we want to talk about the goats.
So I told you, I was like, there's a mile-wide tornado. And you were like, no, there's not. She's exaggerating.
I did say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there was.
Well,
it was
in
devastating.
context for being worried about our house, I'm like, let's go to bed. It's in Mayfield. It's not coming to Paducah.
That's not that far.
Yeah.
As the crow flies.
Okay, well.
I
mean, the tornado rumbles.
You saw it. It goes like, you can see it driving through Kentucky, just all the places that it...
It did destroy the town completely, and it is something to see. So if you're in Paducah, that's something to do. They're pulling down buildings.
Somebody did say if Noble Park still had the fun rides, ...
Nice.
And then
I didn't even know they had that.
Go to Columbus, Belmont State Park, Fort Massac,
That's far.
Superman statue.
Different state.
Different
Illinois.
city.
Yeah. That is, to be fair, that is close. But if you're coming to Paducah and you want to see the Superman statue, just imagine a statue that's painted of Superman. And you don't even have to go see it.
It's the largest Superman statue, Jason.
It's like 9 feet tall.
It's not that tall. You're right. It is not that tall.
It's the largest because no one's interested in making it. That's why.
And it was, I don't know, probably made in the 80s, you think?
I don't know.
70s? Looks a little rough.
Our town is called Metropolis, so we're just going to adopt this Superman thing. I mean, I guess that's cool. Whatever.
I stopped in Paducah twice on a road trip recently for the toddler playground at the mall. A toddler baby age playground is a rare find, so I'll stop there again.
I mean, if you're on your way through and you just need to get your kid out, that's fine. I mean, if you don't know what else there is, because there's other parks that are way better than that. I guess if you're in the winter, I don't know.
Anyway.
It does exist.
It was just funny because everybody was saying, go here, go there,
I saw a lot of comments saying, you guys have a great mall. We have absolutely the worst mall in the world.
No.
What?
Our mall is good for malls. Nowadays, malls are dying. Malls are dead, Jason, and our mall is still hopping.
Well, it's hopping, but that doesn't make it a good mall.
I mean,
it doesn't mean the stores are
Home
good.
Goods and JCPenney, Dillard's. It's got all the standard mall stores except for Gap. We
lost Gap.
Support that.
We
apparently.
lost Gap. Yeah.
No, but for in the way of malls, and especially for Paducah, I think it's actually a really good mall.
Okay. That's cool. Love Five Below.
To the mall.
Let's get to the heart of this. The pros and cons of living in a large city versus living in a small town. Okay? On my list, I didn't have you come up with a list, but I'm sure
I'll chime in.
You got access to organic food and a variety of groceries.
That's in a big city?
Yeah.
Well, what if you want to grow the food? So you couldn't do that.
Well, that's part of the cons. It is limited space, growing, homesteading, things like that. If you're doing things on your own, yeah, huge con to live in a city. But if you're like most people, the majority of people who don't homestead, a city, you have access to any kind of groceries you want.
Do you know how long it's been since I've been able to purchase an organic bell pepper?
How long?
I mean,
we haven't had it in our meals for a while, so
yeah,
at least 3 weeks.
It's crazy to me. I mean, it's not in season right now. Give it a month or so, but
yeah, but that you could get it in a city.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
even if it's
not accessible,
right?
Our organic food section is so small.
And
And
that-
I have to go to multiple stores every week
Right.
to get stuff, not to mention getting food from Azure Standard and then getting food from the local farm that I buy from,
Yeah.
Magni Legacy. Like, it takes a lot of time and energy to
Instead of
access
it
that.
being
Yeah,
all in one
right there.
place.
Mhm.
Right.
True.
A grocery run in the city is like, it's your one place you go and you're done. It is an all day thing in a small town if you're going to eat organic, whole foods. And even then you don't get the things that you wish you could be getting. It's not in
Sometimes,
there.
yeah. Like, sometimes I'll make a meal plan and then I can't get the things that are on my meal list. And it's frustrating. Like fennel, you can't replace fennel.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
just like a very
You
distinct
can't
flavor,
hardly
texture.
replace bell peppers, honestly.
Yeah. So,
Every small town we've lived in, no small town I have ever seen cares at all about organic food. And I understand
right.
that
Paducah is the best of the small towns that we've lived in.
well, it's
Jessup,
also,
Georgia, nothing.
It's the largest of the small towns that we've lived in.
Yeah.
And so it has some options.
I guess Sheboygan had. We
Mm.
weren't buying organic back then. We were buying Whole Foods, but not necessarily organic Whole
Yeah.
Foods. So I don't know that I really
It's
paid
hard to
attention.
remember.
Yeah.
But,
They had better grocery stores, though, for sure.
Festival,
Was that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all we have is Kroger and Walmart. And then Aldi,
Aldi.
I guess.
Our Aldi's not very good. Some Aldis are supposedly like, whoa,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Ours is.
yeah. So there's that. Community. The community aspect. And I think that in a larger city, you have more communities that you can try out. More. Okay, so if we're looking at, there's churches, homeschool groups, whatever. If you have a large enough city, whatever niche you want your community to be in, it's there somewhere. It may be hard to find. It's probably not that hard to find. It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. In a small town, you either have to make it or hope that it's there.
Yeah. It is hard, especially because a lot of times what happens is people they grew up with their friends. And so they already have that
In a
friend
small
base.
town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everybody just kind of stays in that and it's hard to break into that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's really tricky. Or you're like me and didn't really have friends growing up. And so when I left,
I still don't have a group to be a part of.
it was funny
Guys,
because
can I hang out?
coming back, there were people who were new to the area who had more friends than I did
Mm-hmm.
because I just I wasn't in contact with anyone.
Well, we left early adulthood and
Yeah.
we were gone for 10 years,
Right.
moving 15 times. When people our age were establishing relationships. And
or just maintaining those relationships they established through grade school, middle school.
right, but even if you came in to Paducah at like 21, and I'm saying this for any small town, at like 21 or 22 right out of college or high school or whatever, it's when you're younger, it's easier to make friends. That's just part of it. It is easier to make friends. The younger you are, the easier it is to make a new friend.
Do you think it's because you're just not set in your ways, or
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's life circumstances,
you don't have
priorities.
kids, you don't have money? Like nobody has money.
Yeah, well, some people do, but
If it's in the family, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of times there's a more level.
level friend field.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all starting out somewhere.
Right. And
You're all
then-
starting out at the bottom of the ladder unless you're, a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
So, that'd be nice. I was a trust fund baby. My parents trusted that I would get a job one day. That was the extent of my trust fund. I trust that
I
you're
don't
not
even
going to
know
be
if I
an
had
idiot
that.
when you grow up, son. Thanks, Dad. Going back to communities, in small towns, it can feel a little cliquish. But let's talk about small town versus really small town. See, I lived in a place called Marion, Kentucky. And if you want to talk small town, that place has like one, maybe, no, they had 2 stoplights. They took it down and turned it into a stop sign. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's small town. You take what you can get there.
Yeah. Some people love it.
Yeah.
Some people love it.
Here's what I think is crazy. Your sister lives in Marion, and her daughter is taking music lessons from operatically trained professionals because they live there. In Paducah, a town, I don't know, way bigger than that, we don't even have that option. I can't even find someone who's willing to teach children vocal lessons.
Yeah.
Outside of the school system.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 people I know who will like entertain the thought, and it's just for short little camps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like it's just crazy that sometimes there are opportunities. There's also a great horseback riding situation there, and just I can't. Yeah.
But if they want to do anything interesting, they come to Paducah.
Yeah, but you make the interesting things. You do.
Well, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
And they're closer to the lakes and stuff, aren't they? Are they not?
I don't necessarily think so. No, I think it's about the same. Well, it depends on what part of the lake you're going to, I guess. But see, I know a lot of people from that area, and I think even some of them listen to the podcast. So I'm not, putting you down or anything. That's not for me. Mm-hmm. That community's not for me. I remember being in high school thinking, like, I know all these people too well.
And you don't necessarily fit in. I feel like in a small town, you have to be a sports fan. You have to be into watching football.
If you don't care about sports, you're an outcast.
Yeah.
In a small town. You're right. You're right. Smaller than ours. I think you can get away with it in our town. I think ours is just big enough that you don't have to be a sports fan. Nobody actually cares that much except for the, some people. Ours is big enough to have a community but you created a community here. You created one. You didn't have it.
But we're also part of a different little community of people who don't seem to care that much. I mean, they don't talk about sports anyway, to me.
Well, in a small town, people, like, everybody knows everybody. Johnny got fired over there. He's no longer.
But I feel like Paducah is like that. I know.
See, I don't feel that. Because I feel like that always happens within a circle of friends. That's going to happen in your own community no matter what. But I'm not sitting here thinking about, like, that dude was kicked out of the hospital. I don't care.
Yeah, no,
but in Marion, that dude is Bob.
Yeah.
He lives 2 houses down.
Okay, but if the thing was bad enough, everybody knows for sure.
Yeah, that's true on any scale. You just got to get a little bit worse if you're in a bigger city. And by the time you're in, like Chicago, you got to be a serial killer.
But there's circles though. There's probably like 1,000 people in this circle that I keep running with. Like I see the same people.
Holy cow, that's a lot of people.
Well, I'm saying I see this.
My circle is like 7 people.
Yeah, no, I've got like this.
You have 1,000?
No, I'm saying I've got this tiny circle.
Okay.
But then there's like this bigger circle.
Butterfly effect.
Okay, maybe not 1,000, 500 people. I don't know.
There's couples and kids and everything in there.
That are always at the same things that I'm at.
They're
interested in the same things. I see
1,000.
them at the same.
It's not 1,000.
They go to the fundraising things that I like to go to.
Like 200, maybe. It's not 1,000.
I said 500. I changed it.
Well,
you think it's... Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about like the square dancing thing. I know we went to the square dancing class that was free, and this guy had come from Eastern Kentucky, and apparently Paducah is not big enough to sustain a square dance collar. We don't have a collar.
See that.
What? I feel like that would up Paducah's quality of life.
See, I feel like that would be a downgrade.
No, if there was a square dance place, I would be there every week.
Alone.
That is so much fun.
You would be there alone.
I would take the boys.
You will not take my boys.
To a square dance hall?
No.
Yes, that is so fun.
No.
It is amazing. If you have never square danced before, I highly recommend trying to check it out.
I've square danced and can't recommend.
Whenever we were there,
I can't imagine why my circle is so much smaller than yours.
When we were there, It was like, oh yeah, I expected to see you here. Like you would. I've never talked to this person, but of course
Oh,
they're
you
there
would?
because
Oh, okay.
I'm here, and you apparently have very similar tastes to me because we go to all the same things.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's how you build community, though. Then I should probably talk to those people.
Yeah, it's like you should connect with the people that you see often.
I did.
Problem is, we don't like them.
That's not true. You don't know if you've never talked to them.
I could tell by the way they eat.
No.
You just look across the room like, ugh, that person's a jerk.
No.
You don't do that?
No.
Just me?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't prejudge people?
Only if it's like, oh, that is definitely a fashion choice. Okay.
Like big collars?
Don't
Oh,
talk.
I love your big collar.
My collar.
Show everyone your big collar. It's beautiful. Let's move away. Right here.
It's got a little squared back.
Yeah.
That's actually,
It's like a tiny cape.
well, it's a child's dress from the 90s.
Oh.
Yeah, it's supposed to be full length,
Uh-huh.
I think, is my guess. So I just kind of squish in here, and
Yeah.
I love a good 90s kids dress.
Yeah. Okay. I don't. For me. I love it on you. You're great. This is a good opportunity to talk about transportation. No, but seriously, in a large town, or a large city, listen, we lived in Seoul, South Korea. Seoul, South Korea has a population of, well, the metropolitan area, 26 million people as of 2024. It is the fourth largest metropolitan area in the world. Okay.
You could get ribs and baked beans and cornbread if you wanted
Korea.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we moved there, we had been living in Gwangju, which has 2 million people.
Yeah.
Big.
Small town.
That's
Compared to the other cities in Korea, yeah.
I know, but like a big city for us.
Oh, yeah.
But the closest thing to American food was McDonald's, KFC,
And
which
an
was still
Outback.
kind of weird, and Outback.
Yeah.
Those were our options if we wanted a little taste of home. So we would travel 6 hours. Was it 6 hours? No.
About 4.
Yeah,
by
6 hours
train.
total.
Or
I
4
was
by
thinking.
bus, 3 by train.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We would travel hours to get a meal
Mhm.
that kind of like reminded us
I'll spend the
of
weekend.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But we actually lived there then, our third year.
Yeah, then we moved there,
Yeah.
and it was crazy.
was
So there was
crazy.
a lot more eating out that happened.
Yeah.
That's one danger of living in a big city is everything's at your fingertips, so you can just spend money.
Yeah, convenience, and you don't have to drive. Taxis, Ubers, trains,
Taxis
subways.
were cheap.
They were cheap. Now, in Paducah, does Paducah even have an Uber if you wanted it?
Bet they have an Uber.
But then they'd have to drive so far out just to pick you up, or we probably have one Uber.
You can arrange for Pat's Paducah Area Transportation Bus to come to your house. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
You did it for your mom.
okay.
You had to pay like $20 or something.
No, it was cheap.
Oh, really?
It was cheap. Yeah, it's like $5 or something.
But I don't think they're doing that all the time.
Yeah.
That was a special thing.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
it was like on their route.
You're not making a convincing argument for great transportation. When you live where,
No,
like in a
there's no
place like we do, you have to
transportation
drive forever
Yeah.
to get anywhere.
To get to the
to
post
get
office.
to the lame places.
It takes us 25 minutes to get to the post office.
That's
so if
crazy.
you ordered a shirt, that's why it's late.
It's late. There's a couple that's late right now, and I'm so sorry. We're going to work on it tonight.
Yes. What you're saying is you want to move to a big city, it sounds like.
I'm not.
You're really heavy on it. Like you're down on the small town. But
I don't
here's-
like living in a small town, and I don't like living in a large city.
I don't like that in a big city, everyone's opinions and beliefs are so in your face everywhere you turn. And it makes it kind of tricky when you're
Yeah, I mean,
and like just even
can't take your kids out. Don't go to Portland. Goodness, if you don't want to run into naked bike riders.
Or yeah, I mean,
it's like we're just taking our kids to get some ice cream, and there's a whole 1,000 naked people on bikes in Portland.
Yeah, it's just
you can't if you didn't have that on your schedule, you weren't gonna know that it was happening until it just kind of hits you in the face, and it's like, okay, thanks, big city. No, I have problems with big cities.
Yeah,
I have a lot, and I think my conclusion might surprise you. Might not.
I will say it's really gross going out in a big city at night. People are gross.
Yeah.
There's bodily fluids
and so much alcohol
everywhere, and just
have your opinion on alcohol, whatever. I don't care. You good, bad, whatever. It's awful in a city. If you're out past 9, there's 5 sober people in the entire town.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about cities.
It's gross. I feel really gross walking through cities, and I've said it before, but being someone who's kind of a germaphobe, it's a little hard for me to be like, it's just so...
Yeah. Here are some cons, and I'm sure you would agree with this. Noise pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Regular pollution.
Mm-hmm.
EMFs.
Maybe.
Galore.
I feel like EMFs are still an issue in the country now. They're just throwing up 5G towers everywhere.
There's a 5G tower every corner in a city.
True.
You're just hit bomb. Every building has 500 Wi-Fi routers.
But the buildings might have layers of lead paint, which might be slightly protective. Ones. Yeah, not the new ones.
Yeah, so who knows? I don't know. I mean, if you can get a signal in the building, then I guess it's not lined with lead paint. Con for the city, limited space. We talked about getting chickens soon. That's not happening in the city, especially a big one. Growing anything. You love to grow flowers, especially. We grow some vegetables, but you love to grow flowers. It's not really happening in the big city, not unless you're rich and you have plenty of patio space.
People are really clever. People are really clever with their patio. Everybody in the city gets a little patio, right?
I don't know. It depends.
When
we lived in Seoul, well, we had to. It was a laundry room / patio, but barely.
It wasn't a patio.
It was just
closed in. It was a laundry room.
Yeah, so we didn't. But there's ton. You're looking at a big city. Those big apartment complexes. No, you don't necessarily. You got to pay a premium for that.
Yeah.
Kids don't have yards.
They have parks.
We have parks.
No, we don't. You have to drive to get to the park. But why go to the park when your yard's a park?
I know. I read Jim Gaffigan's book, Dad is Fat, back in the day, and just kind of talks about his life in New York City with, I think, at the time, 6 kids or something like that. And they were constantly going to the park, which is great to do that if you have to live in the city. But that's
time.
That's time. Our kids are playing in our yard right now, and we're doing a podcast. I don't even know how we would do it if we didn't have a yard. Doing this in particular.
More screen time, probably.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can you even live in? And I would love to hear from people who are doing this, because I haven't lived in a very large city with kids. That's a different challenge.
That sounds like a nightmare to me.
That seems hard.
Yeah,
seems very hard. And I'm sure some people who are listening are in that situation. I'm curious. Do you get by without screen time? Can you? In a city when there's not, you don't necessarily have time to take your kids to the park all the time.
Kids also play in their house.
I know, but I don't know. We're very spoiled on a nice yard.
It is. It's so easy to be go outside and play. It's easier for kids to play outside than it is in the house, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, people do it. They figure it out. That's the other thing too. Is
what's your normal?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever situation you're in, and we've experienced this, every situation we've been in, you obtain a new normal. Mm-hmm. What is your normal? And it works. You do what works. And the problem is, for me, is we've seen so many sides of it. We've gone to tiny towns, to medium-sized towns, to the largest cities in the world. And it's like you see the best of all of it and the worst of all of it, and you can never get it all in one place. I'm sure it exists.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about when we lived in Seoul, you walked out of our apartment building and just around the corner, I mean, like 300 feet away, was one of the most delicious bakeries. They had the most delicious scones and bread,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
Right there. Just right there.
And then a park on the other
Freshly.
side of the street, right?
Not that one, was there?
In Pangyo? I think so. Yeah, you could just walk right up to the park. Korea had a lot of parks.
Korea's pretty epic.
It's pretty
I'm
epic.
like halfway tempted to move there and raise our children there.
Whoever city plans in Korea, which, I mean...
They obviously care about nature.
Yes.
It's a big...
Yes.
Yeah.
I think American cities could learn a lot from Korean cities.
They've gotten better, I think, but it's a little too late. Like it was already,
Well, everything's
so it was already
established.
established.
Yeah.
But
Well, they
Korean
didn't care about
park,
children back in the 20s and teens when they were building these places, and
there were
or 1800s even for some of
you
them.
could go hike a mountain in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
So like really cool.
Everywhere
Yeah.
there are parks, there are trails, it is encouraged. Like those sidewalks are giant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go through any city around here, like walking and being outside is not prioritized in America.
No.
It's not in your bigger cities, especially.
Right.
Now, of course, you get things like the Greenway Trail in our city, in our town, and then there are specific things like the thing to do that's outdoor, but like it is integrated into the city culture within in Korea. In every city that we visited,
Right.
every city that we were part of, it is integrated into their culture. Being outside, the encouragement to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. It is almost the perfect melding of nature and city, if you can. It's obviously, you're not going to get past the noise pollution and things like that. It's just, you just won't get past it. And it's not as good in a place like Seoul as it was in Gwangju, even though it was still good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another con. Everything is so stinking expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive. Like, okay, cities have seen double-digit costs of living increases over the last 5 years. And of course, people are not getting double-digit raises to compensate for that.
Yeah. I mean, like housing-wise, especially.
Yeah, groceries, housing, everything.
We got our house. It's technically 4-bedroom, if that one room was finished.
Yeah, yeah.
2.5 bath. Like, decent house. We had to fix it up a little.
Yeah.
3 acres.
It's a bit of a fixer-upper.
185 at 3%. And, like, it's a pretty good house.
Yeah.
And it was dated. It was built in 81 and had never been updated or anything. So we put some money into it to fix it. But, like, you couldn't get this somewhere else, you know? And now we kind of feel stuck, actually.
Yeah.
Like, because the interest rates are double that.
Oh, yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
And then everything has just gone up wildly. Doesn't make sense. We get to live in this pretty decent place.
Yeah, it's not, but it's also like where we live, it's not like we could sell our house for enough money to get a comparable place in a place like, let's say, Portland, where the naked people ride their bikes.
And not that I would ever want to. Or even
I
on the
understand.
outskirts of Nashville.
Right. It is astronomically different
Yeah.
than Western Kentucky prices.
Right.
It's
And
like
then
you
that's
can't
why
even move if you want to.
I know. So many people are moving here because you can get land so cheap.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like Paducah can, you know, we have like 1 or 2 good coffee shops.
Oh, no, we
We
have
have,
some really charming
you know.
things. There are really cool things. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I feel bad that I'm so down on Paducah because it's a pretty cool place, mostly.
There are some things.
There are some things that are really cool.
There's no Indian restaurant that.
That's devastating to me.
I know.
I think living kind of in the country, for me, wins. It wins out over the big city. Though I would probably more often enjoy being in a city more.
That's why we need to take day trips. We're only 2 hours to Nashville, 3 hours to St. Louis.
That drive to Nashville,
I know,
feels like
17
7 hours.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. I think there's a time warp between here and Nashville.
It's weird. Coming back, it's not as bad.
No.
It's never as bad coming back, anywhere you go.
Yeah.
But the drive there.
It's rough. I don't know. If you live in a big city or in a small one, leave a review. Tell us what you think of the show. Leave 5 stars if you can't leave a review. And I've got a poll down on there for Spotify users. Do you live in a big city or a little city or a little town? Because I'm interested to know what our, well, I can't do it for Apple, but at least what our Spotify users are from. Probably just offended all of the city folk.
Well, we love cities. We just,
Yeah. Unless you're a germaphobe. I can't recommend living in a tiny town, though. I'm not a fan. Paducah is about as small as I can get.
Yeah.
Smaller than that, and I don't like my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if it was smaller than Paducah, but in an epic place? Like on the rim of the Grand Canyon.
Like Haines, Alaska or something?
Yeah.
On the rim of the Grand Canyon. Sure, but I still think there would be a lot of downsides. Like too many. Because you get used to anything. Somebody commented today, like, I live in the Ontario side of Niagara Falls, and it's a tourist trap. And there's actually nothing to do, and you get used to the waterfall stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, huh.
Well, yeah, waterfall wouldn't be my first choice.
It's epic.
A natural, beautiful thing. I'm not choosing a waterfall.
Okay, whatever.
I'm choosing a lake or mountains, but a waterfall, I mean.
Well, everything changes if you live in like a mansion in like Montana and also have a ski resort as your backyard. Yeah, things change. If you have servants, sure. Yeah, I could live anywhere. I could live in a small town if I don't have to do anything. Like, if I don't bring the entertainment to me, if I'm making that much money. Thank you for listening to today's episode. And if you live in a small town, like a really tiny one, get out now. Get out while you still can. Unless you like the people or live with family there, but get them out too.
Thanks so much. Have a good week.
I'm for the small towns.
I don't know. I mean, I think the one reason we moved so much is
because we hated where we lived.
Just every time we're like, what could we do that's a little better than this? What could we do that's a little better than this?
And somehow we ended up in Paducah, Kentucky again.
When we said we never would. We said we would never move back here.
We were young and naive. And here we are. It's a bit of a fixer-upper. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Have a great week. Thanks again.
Bye.